This video examines an extremely rare personality, not through labels or praise, but through patterns. Have you ever felt fundamentally different from most people, not louder or superior, just operating on a different wavelength? More observant, more selective, less reactive, yet unable to explain why that difference often creates distance. Many people with rare psychological traits mistake this separation for a flaw, when in reality it is a signal. What follows are 7 subtle signs that reveal a rare personality through behavior, perception, and long-term consistency rather than surface traits. The final sign is the most misunderstood, and it quietly determines how others respond to your presence, even when you say very little. Emotional independence is a rare and understated form of strength. In a world shaped by external validation, most people are pulled up and down by praise and criticism. But a few operate differently. They have an internal regulator, a kind of psychological thermostat that keeps their emotional state steady, no matter what others say or think. Compliments and criticism are processed as information, not as fuel. Their sense of worth is built internally, not negotiated through group approval. They stay composed in chaos, unaffected by emotional contagion, choosing to observe rather than follow the crowd. This emotional sovereignty is not isolation or coldness. It is autonomy, and when fully developed, it becomes a quiet, unshakable form of power. This difference begins internally, with how emotion is regulated rather than expressed. All of us are shaped to some degree by social conditioning. From the beginning, we absorb norms, values, and expectations, often without realizing it. But some individuals develop a quiet resistance, a kind of internal firewall. They do not rebel loudly or seek attention. Instead, they question with calm curiosity. They watch patterns, analyze incentives, and feel little pull toward status, wealth, or collective approval. Their choices appear unconventional, not because they seek difference, but because they follow an internal compass rather than a borrowed map. In a world full of scripts, they move deliberately, choosing their own path, showing that true resistance is not announced, it is lived. From here, the distinction deepens into how one relates to society itself. In a hyper-connected world, genuine comfort with solitude is uncommon. For some, quiet is not emptiness, it is presence, a chosen retreat where the noise of the world recedes and their own thoughts sharpen. This solitude is not loneliness, but a deliberate space for reflection, regulation, and strategy. It is where ideas take shape, insights accumulate, and inner balance is restored. They do not depend on constant interaction or validation. Their sense of worth remains intact without an audience. In solitude, they find clarity, stability, and a quiet strength that separates them from the restless many. That internal independence naturally reshapes one's relationship with silence. Strategic silence is a powerful and often overlooked tool. In conversations, meetings, or negotiations, most people rush to fill gaps, uneasy with quiet. But the strategic individual treats silence as a vacuum. It draws information out. Their stillness creates pressure. Others speak more than they intend, while the silent observer listens, watches, and evaluates. This silence is not passive. It is deliberate, focused listening. By withholding their position, they preserve flexibility and mystery. They cannot be easily read or boxed in. In any negotiation, the one who can remain silent longest often holds the advantage, projecting confidence without effort. True authority does not fight for airtime. It allows silence to do the work. Strategic silence becomes a net for information, a shield against exposure, and a quiet signal of control. Silence, when sustained, begins to sharpen perception. If you want to explore this way of thinking more deeply, the art of strategic indifference examines emotional control, silence perception, and power dynamics in a far more detailed framework. It is written for private clarity, not public display. You'll find the link in the description. The fifth sign is perhaps the most mentally demanding, and it quietly supports many of the others we've explored. It is an advanced ability for pattern recognition. Most people move through life experiencing events in a straight line. This happened, then that happened. But for this rare personality, reality doesn't appear linear. It appears interconnected. They naturally see life as a woven system rather than isolated moments. They notice the subtle threads linking behaviors, outcomes, and environments that others treat as unrelated. They are not focused on single events. They are tracking structures, not just the individual trees, but the entire forest and the forces shaping it. This is not about spotting simple or obvious patterns, like noticing a colleague is late every Monday. It operates on a deeper level, where cause, motive, timing, and consequence quietly align. At this point, perception shifts from moments to systems. It is a far deeper and more complex form of perception. It involves recognizing the hidden scripts that people, groups, and institutions follow, often without realizing it themselves. They notice the repeating cycles in organizations, the rise and collapse of public scandals, the familiar conversational moves certain individuals use to influence or manipulate. It feels as though they are watching a play they've already seen many times, while everyone else is experiencing it for the first time. They anticipate the dialogue before it's spoken. Outcomes feel less surprising. This ability is not accidental. It grows out of the traits we've already discussed. Their emotional distance keeps judgment clear. They are not swept up in the drama of the moment, so patterns remain visible rather than obscured by reaction. Their comfort with solitude gives them the time and mental space to think deeply and connect details others overlook. Their strategic silence supplies the raw material, observations, conversations, patterns that feed this process. Together, these traits turn them into quiet analysts of human behavior and systems, constantly processing information in the background. The result looks like foresight. To outsiders, it can feel almost prophetic, but there is nothing mystical about it. They don't rely on intuition alone, and they certainly don't need a crystal ball. What they have is a disciplined understanding of cause and effect, precedent, and human nature. Because of this, they can sense market shifts early, anticipate the outcome of negotiations, or recognize the signs of betrayal long before proof appears. They are not reacting to what is happening now. They are quietly positioning themselves for what they can already see forming ahead. While most focus on the immediate move, they are several steps forward, thinking in sequences rather than moments. This ability to recognize patterns goes beyond people and extends into systems themselves. Corporations, institutions, legal structures, social hierarchies, these are not fixed or rigid in their eyes. They see them as living systems, shaped by inputs, incentives, and pressure points. They are natural systems thinkers. They don't just notice a rule. They understand why it exists, what function it serves, and where its weaknesses lie. More importantly, they recognize how rules can be navigated, redirected, or quietly bypassed without confrontation. Where others grow irritated by illogical procedures or endless bureaucracy, the pattern recognizer becomes curious. They treat it as a problem worth understanding. They follow the flow of information and authority through the system, noticing where it slows, where it concentrates, and where real control quietly sits. They know that no system is truly random. Even when it looks chaotic, there is an internal logic holding it together. And once that logic is understood, influence becomes possible, not through force, but through precision. Often very little effort is required. This mindset resembles that of a hacker, not in the criminal sense, but in its original meaning. Someone who studies a system so deeply that they can make it behave in ways its creators never anticipated. This is the essence of the strategic personality, understanding first, then moving with intent. They look at any social or organizational structure and ask a different question. Where is the leverage? What single precise input could create the largest and most disproportionate result? They specialize in asymmetrical influence, producing significant outcomes through actions so subtle they often go unnoticed. This makes them highly effective thinkers and problem solvers, but it also makes them formidable adversaries. When you find yourself opposing someone who understands a system more deeply than you do, sometimes more deeply than its designers, you are already at a disadvantage. They will not confront you directly. That would be inefficient. Instead, they move indirectly, applying pressure where it matters most. Instead, they adjust a small, precise variable, one you may not even be aware exists, and allow the system to realign itself around that change. The shift appears subtle, almost insignificant, yet the outcome is decisive. By the time the effects are visible, the advantage is already theirs, leaving others confused about what went wrong. The real reward of this advanced pattern recognition is foresight. While most people are reacting to what already happened, the pattern recognizer is acting on what is likely to happen next week, next month, even next year. This creates a consistent first-mover advantage that is difficult to overcome. They position themselves early, benefiting from trends before they are obvious, or quietly reinforcing defenses against threats long before others realize danger is approaching. This ability is not only about anticipating what will happen, it is about influencing what comes next. By recognizing a pattern at its earliest stage, they can sometimes intervene, either strengthening it or quietly breaking it apart. For instance, if they notice the first signs of tension inside a rival group, they may apply a subtle nudge, a carefully placed comment, a piece of information shared at the right moment, allowing a small crack to widen on its own. No force is needed. The system does the work. On the other hand, when they recognize potential in an idea everyone else dismisses, they move early. They invest attention, time, and resources while interest is low. When that idea finally gains momentum, they are already positioned at the front. This capacity for foresight is not luck. It is the natural outcome of seeing patterns before they are obvious. Principled detachment is an unusual balance. To be principled suggests a strong internal compass. To be detached suggests emotional distance. Holding both at once requires operating on a different level. Those who manage it filter out emotional noise so they can act with clarity and resolve. Like a chess master, they choose moves based on principle, not impulse. They are not tossed around by feeling. They remain steady, a fixed point in unstable conditions. This clarity does come with a cost. Some warmth is lost along the way. But what replaces it is certainty, the knowledge that their actions align with what they believe is right, regardless of emotional discomfort. It is a demanding path, and few are willing to walk it. All of this ultimately resolves into how authority is expressed. Authority is a strange thing. It's often mistaken for noise. Raised voices, dramatic gestures, visible force. The politician pounding a lectern, the executive asserting control through volume. But there is another form, far quieter and far more effective. Calm authority. It isn't projected through dominance, but through composure. It belongs to the person who doesn't need to speak often, because when they do, attention settles naturally. Their influence comes from the weight of their words and the steadiness of their presence. In moments of disorder, they remain anchored. That composure stabilizes the room. This kind of authority is not improvised. It is built slowly through consistency, reliability, and restraint. You see it in their posture, their unhurried movements, their steady gaze. Calm authority is power expressed through integrity and self-control. It is never demanded. It is quietly earned and deeply respected. If this kind of analysis resonates, subscribing simply keeps it available when you need it. So, we've moved through these quieter corridors of personality, examining the signs of a genuinely rare disposition. From the clear logic of principled detachment to the silent weight of calm authority, none of these traits announce themselves loudly. They are not declarations, they are patterns, subtle, often overlooked threads woven into the structure of a person's character. They don't arrive with spectacle or display. They function more like a low, steady hum, a signal of a different internal design at work. This way of being operates just beneath casual observation. Taken together, these signs form a portrait of someone who meets the world on their own terms, not as a conventional rebel fighting the system head-on, but as something quieter, more controlled, and far harder to move. Instead, they operate alongside the system rather than inside it, guided by an internal compass that isn't easily pulled by trends or emotional shifts. Their way of moving through the world is analytical and strategic. Emotion is acknowledged, but treated as information, not a force to be carried away by. This creates a quiet rhythm of observation, evaluation, and intentional action. The framework itself, emotional independence, strategic silence, principled resolve, shapes how they see reality and how they engage with it. It grants perspective. It allows them to notice patterns others miss, obscured by the noise and urgency of everyday life. It cultivates a form of authority rooted in consistency, not charisma. It is not inherently better, nor is it worse. It is simply different. It reflects the many ways the human mind can organize its relationship with the world, and that distinction matters. These characteristics are not instructions for success, nor a model meant to be copied. They are a description, nothing more, of a particular and uncommon way of existing. A personality that navigates human complexity not through impulse or instinct, but through careful structure and consideration, almost architectural in nature. It is a quiet way of moving through the world. Analytical, restrained, rare, and its influence is often felt not in what is said or done openly, but in the spaces between words and in the stillness between actions. If this video gave you clarity, support it quietly. Like the video, leave your perspective in the comments, share it with someone who understands discretion, and subscribe for future analyses. Continue with the next video to deepen the framework.